Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece Chapter 980. Okay, so to start off, can I just say how hilariously typical the first few pages of this chapter were, with Luffy causing a major scene and then Zoro coming in to talk to berate Luffy, only to make things worse. I mean, don't I mean it's probably at this point it's probably a scenario that's basically expected, and it's something we've seen over and over again. We've seen over and over again play out so many times at this point, but because of what I can only describe as experts set up and comedic timing on Oda's part, he still manages to keep that same gag so fresh. And in this case, it actually has the added effect of being the perfect distraction for pretty much all the other groups. Or in this case, for Kid to come in and basically catch everyone with their pants down. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, I I don't know why, but I just really kind of I love it whenever Oda does this. I don't know why. It's such an overused story beat at this point in his series, but he still manages to weirdly make that seem fresh. I don't know how he does it, but he just does. It's hard to explain, really. But yeah, it works every single time. Again, I think it's because of the expert comedic timing that he always pulls off. Um, Now, obviously, one of the big things to talk about with this chapter is that Queen is capitalizing on the ruckus that Luffy is causing by putting a pretty much a prize on his head, and how he like Queen lays it out in this chapter. The first person to deal with Luffy and Zoro will basically become a Tobi Roppo, because will become the newest member of the Tobi Roppo, and because there's a member of the group he wants dead, or he wants to basically see dead. He usually wants dead. So yeah, I can't believe I didn't see it before, but I admit I didn't see this one before in the last week's chapter, or when they were first discussing the whole possibility of switching out a member of the Tobi Roppo. But to me, that was just confirmation right there that for me, just Queen just saying that right now, that was confirmation. That wasn't subtle enough. That was pretty much confirmation to me saying that with certainty that Drake now has a bullseye on his back. That Drake pretty much has a bullseye on him right now. And whatever happens to Drake himself beyond this point, I could weirdly actually not be more excited. I could not be more excited for this setup, because the thing is, don't get me wrong, with Drake being the obvious target of Queen, and him possibly having a death flag on, there's all that. But the reason why I'm excited for this setup is because not only could this lead to a potential reunion between Luffy and Kobe, but if the theory holds true about who the benefactor behind Sword is, then this could also lead to basically to seeing Aokiji again very soon. Now, that one is only plausible under the assumption that he's not currently dealing with something Blackbeard related. However, I do see Kobe being a more likely scenario to happen right now, since he and Drake have been working together, and like just pretty much, I know it's weird, but just the possibility of seeing Kobe again is really exciting to me, because Kobe really hasn't had a moment ever since he showed up as a captain. Ever since we've seen how far in the ranks of the Marines he's become now, he hasn't really had a very true time to shine. And with knowing that Drake and Kobe are part of Sword, and that they've been working together, this does have very real potential in order to finally put like Prince Kobe in the spotlight, and actually have him and see just how strong Kobe has become. I mean, we've seen what Kobe can do in non-canon material, but I just legitimately I want to see him in what Kobe can do in canon, basically. Just how powerful he's become now. It really needs to happen for me, and I really hope it does happen. Um, but and now and the obvious thing is with Drake being targeted in general, though, this does also expose that Queen knows that Drake's been undercover. But does Kai? But does the big question I've got with this right now is, does Kaido know? That's kind of the big question I've got, because with the way things that were kind of set up in previous chapters, with the whole thing and the whole idea of someone having the chance to in order to be like a new Tobi Roppo to begin with, just in the way all that was presented, it's I don't think he's fully aware. Like I don't know if Kaido is like, I don't know if they're like, I think they might be keeping I think they might be keeping something from him, because there's no, I think they might be keeping parts of this like secret from Kaido, that this whole thing of replacing one of the Tobi Roppo, because there's no way that even if Kaido is a pirate, there's no way that he would agree so readily to the idea of replacing one of the Tobi Roppo, his elite guard, unless they weren't keeping something from him. I think unless they weren't keeping something from him. I think so. Yeah, I think. So yeah, I think in terms of kind of knowing, I think he might know like the bare bones of it in this. I think from what was presented last week, it was presented in a way where, yeah, it's going to be where, yeah, he's open to the idea of one of the Tobi Roppo being replaced, but in terms of like who's actually being replaced, I think that's probably the secret they're keeping from him, I think. So with all that being said, let's talk about Apoo in this chapter. Because, okay, I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you guys. Apoo has not been my favorite character of the Worst Generation. In fact, if I'm being honest with you, if I were to give you guys a list of my favorite of the Worst Generation, he'd pretty much be at the very bottom of the list. And even after this chapter, I can't necessarily say he's really moved up any, but one thing I can say is that I definitely take him more seriously as a threat after this chapter, because he was legitimately going in and causing some serious problems for Luffy and Zoro. Like, no joke, it was actually kind of intense and somewhat frightening to see both Luffy and Zoro get so far pushed against the wall by Apoo. And he really, to me, in this chapter, he really showed why he is a legitimate threat like the rest of his Worst Generation peers, or why he definitely stepped up in a way that showed why he should be taken a little more seriously. Like this was definitely Apoo's moment to shine, and he really really did shine, honestly. Like this was definitely the chapter where it's like, okay, Apoo, I haven't taken you seriously before, but this was legitimately kind of badass. I gotta admit, you did some good stuff, man. Just using his powers in the way he did, it kind of made me say, oh, yeah, like Apoo, you've got some stuff. You got some stuff, and I can definitely see as to how and why he managed to take Kid and Hawkins off guard, and how he managed to basically betray him, I guess you could say. So it gave a little weird insight into that. With that said, I do think his threat was slightly undercut by Kid coming in and practically one-hit KOing him, but I also just chalked that up to some much-needed revenge. So I still have to give credit to Apoo for just the mere act of doing anything remotely damaging to Luffy and Zoro. The only thing I wish we had gotten in this chapter was an official confirmation on Apoo's possible devil fruit. Like, that was the one only problem I had, is that we didn't get like an official name on what Apoo's devil fruit actually is, or even if it is a devil fruit at all. Like, but whatever it is, I want to know what exactly Apoo's power is. Like, I think what the official like term or official name of his powers is. But yeah, other than that, like that's a nitpick. But the rest of it was like it was really good. Apoo really stepped up, and I love it. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Mr. Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.